Good evening, all. We, on behalf of the SRECAA Alumni Association and the Department of EEE, welcome you for the 101st webinar talk, Quality Systems Basic Concepts. 5 7Wastes and Pokayoke. We welcome speaker of the day, Mr. Ramesh Viswanathan, faculty members, current students, and all our alumni friends. So Ramesh belongs to the 2002 batch EEE branch. After his engineering, he has joined Lakshya Mills as an apprenticeship trainee and worked for a year. Then he joined Precall Limited as an assistant manager. He was with Precall for 5 years. Then he joined as a project manager at Continental Automotive Components India Private Limited. He still continues with them for the past 14 years. In parallel, he has also completed his MBA in technology management. As a senior manager in new product launch, he has been deputed to various factories of the Continental Group globally. Today morning, he has reached Malaysia to support the Malaysian team. He has undergone various training under the Lean certification, LabVIEW, leadership programs, and lot more. Over to you, Ramesh.
Thank you, Vasanth, for an introduction, and also my good evening to the team who has gathered here for this webinar. Basically, Vasanth has given the details about me. Basically, I am more into manufacturing planning and production related into a factory. So more, I think engineering college side, the exposure on the manufacturing front is very minimal, less because focus is mainly basically students mainly concentrate on the software area, and the preference given to the factories is by the students very less. But there are a lot of interesting topics and also a lot of career opportunities are available for the emerging students in the field of manufacturing, because India produces and exports more software, but beyond it we also produce and export a lot of technology products like to the whole world, which is including automotive cars and all. So that's it. So can we go to the presentation?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah. So this topic is a little bit, I can say, I understand there is one subject for engineering students called total quality management in their B course, if I am right. It was there, but I don't know whether it's still there about the subject. Do you have this course in your curriculum? Total quality management. Okay, no issues. Let me go ahead. I would like to make the more interactive session. So that means we will share more in content and knowledge to the team here. So anyone can you define what is quality? Can someone tell what are the key things which comes to your mind when I say the word quality?
Perfection.
Okay, perfection is one word. Okay, so how you say perfection? So what are the things which comes into your mind when you say the word perfection, or maybe a little meaning of the word perfection? What do you mean by perfection?
The best results possible.
Okay, so what is the word here? What do you hear the word best? Best what? How can you define best? Maybe the little meaning of best. What is the little meaning of best?
Best.
Tell me.
Sorry, I can repeat, Vasanth. I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, the maximum quality output that's possible.
Okay, maximum quality output. So I'm just catching the keywords what you are using. It's maximum is the keyword what I catch here. Okay, so let me give the definition given by ISO, the International Standards Organization for the word quality. So basically, the definition says the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics of an object fulfills requirements. Okay, so This is the definition given by International Standards Organization for the word quality. So the closeness or the nearness or the maximum or the best, okay, the characteristics of an object which fulfills the requirements of the object, okay. So this is the definition. Maybe in a simple words I can say a quality of a product or service is that it is satisfying the quality expectations of the client. So here the word expectations is the keyword here. So if I say expectations, so expectations are always subjective because they are either stated expectations or unstated expectations, but still expected from the customer. The customer say, I want this, I want this, I want the product like this, I want the product having these many features. All these things he may say, but there will be an overrider always, which is not stated to you, but it still is expected from you to be delivered. So to have an example, if you go to a hotel, you order a coffee. So normally how you order coffee in a hotel? So we ask.
Menu card.
Hello.
Yeah, looking into the menu card.
Okay, fine. But when you order coffee, what do you say to the server sometimes? So sometimes you say bring a strong coffee with sugar, without sugar. I think this is what you give as a requirement to the server, am I right? To give a coffee, deliver a coffee.
Yes.
So you are giving the requirements as I want a strong coffee with sugar. Is what you are given a requirement. This is basically you have explicitly told this, but unexplicitly you are expecting about the following things: the cleanness of serving and cooking utensils, serving staff cleanliness, ambience of the restaurant, usage of unadulterated coffee powder to prepare the coffee, using a clean water or a potable water to prepare the coffee. Then also expect a fresh milk to be used to prepare a coffee. If I am right, நம்ம ஒரு வடிவேல் படம் பார்த்துருப்போம். அதில் வந்து வடிவேல் வந்து ஊத்தாப்பத்துக்கு ஒரு ஸ்பெசிஃபிகேஷன் கொடுப்பாரு. ஞாபகம் நினைக்கிறேன் இல்லையா? அதில் சொல்லுவார் வந்து ஊத்தப்பம் வந்து இந்த மாதிரிலாம் வேணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஹி வில் சே என்னென்னலாம் போடணும், எப்போ என்னென்னலாம் கலக்கணும், எவனை இன்னும் எப்படி வேக வைக்கணும் எல்லாம் சொல்லுவார். கடைசியில் சர்வர் கேட்டுட்டு ஒரு ஊத்தாப்பன்ட்டு போயிடுவார். So I just use this as a correlation to bring to make all of you understand whenever we speak about quality, it is always about both satisfying stated and unstated expectations. Okay. So stated is always which the customer gives you in your requirement in written form or through some form of a document or specification. But some things they still expect us, which has to be delivered by you as a unexpected, but still is a part of the equipment. So it becomes a best quality product. So any doubts here, any questions here about the definition of quality?
No, sir. You can proceed.
Okay. So let me move today. So quality basically is a vast subject. Okay. So I think, as I told, in engineering curriculum itself, I think for PG, some college in UG and PG, they offer a separate subject on total quality management, and each and every company, basically, irrespective of the segment what they operate, so they are striving hard to deliver a quality product to the people. Why? Basically, why all the companies are striving hard to provide a better quality products to the people? Why? Any reasons?
The systems are not in place.
No. Systems are not in place is a answer when you say when the company provides a not quality product. My question is a little bit different. Why companies are striving hard to ensure that they are delivering a quality product to customer? Simple reason, if you don't deliver a quality product, you will be out of the market, am I right? And you will be out of the business at any point of time. We have seen a lot of classical examples, am I right?
Yeah.
When you don't deliver a quality product or service. So a classic example, maybe if you take, maybe some of you can say one example. I can say one example, so which will be easy. For example, so when you travel by air, when you want to do air travel in India, so what are the airlines options available for you? Air India, Indigo, Vistara, maybe in the past we had Jet Airways, Kingfisher. Okay. Why Air India was making a lot of losses? Is there any reason? Because maybe many airline prices were gone out of the market from the service sector because of so many reasons due to financial. But why Air India is still operating and it's making huge losses? Any reasons? Can anyone guess what is the reason? Simple. Because the service what they offer is not meeting the customer expectations or requirements. So either they make they don't serve a quality food, or the behavior of the staff is not so good. So that's the reason, even though it's a government airline and it is being promoted, even though they have a high-end technology, the latest technology carriers, so they are not into much of the aviation market in India, and they were losing market share and they were making huge losses. Okay, maybe coming to one more example. So what is the best restaurant in Coimbatore? So people you prefer, maybe which restaurant where you people like to go frequently? So somebody can say some examples, so we discuss on what is quality or how.
Annapurna.
Annapurna. Why Annapurna? Why you call them as quality?
Consistency.
Consistency. Okay, that is called normally in consistency in quality we call it as a standardized product. Okay, so for example, what I can say as a standardized product is, for example, Annapurna. If you take sambar, if I have been tasting from my childhood till today, the taste remains the same, and it is the taste is not varying day to day, every day. How they are able to make it? What they follow to make the sambar? It's basically a standardized process. Am I right? Any product or service, normally it is produced by something called process. So we have certain inputs, maybe the raw materials. Then when you process, you get an output, which is called the final product. In Annapurna's case, the recipe is standardized long back. So they're able to maintain the taste of the sambar still in a consistent and in a very good shape, and they have been in the best restaurant in Coimbatore till today. If tomorrow, if they stop following the standard process for making sambar, they may also the taste will start varying day to day, and they may be also out of the market. Just I'm saying an example. So to just emphasize you what is called as a standardized process or standard work. So coming to today's topic, so basically I will be covering the three three areas called the 5S, 7Wastes and Pokayoke. So for all these basics, so whenever you say quality, so normally the next country name or the which comes to our mind as synonymously would be Japan. Do you all agree with me? So Japanese means they're meant for their quality. Do all of you agree with me?
Yes, yes.
Any second thoughts? So basically, to the field of quality, the contribution from Japanese is very high, because after losing their economy completely after Second World War, so they became one of the superpowers in the globe because of their quality products which they deliver to the whole world, and still they are respected today as the leaders for quality in any product you take. It may be an electronic product, or it may be automotive, or whatever the case may be. So the Japanese product means they are meant for their quality. So whatever these three topics, 5S, 7Wastes and Pokayoke, so all these are the Japanese concepts which today the whole world is making use in their industry to solve their problems and to make their products with a better quality and to sustain their presence in their business. So to begin with, I will start with 7 wastes. So can anyone define what is waste? Maybe normally we say waste time, right? So maybe whenever, whatever process we do, we normally generate some waste time, right? For example, let us not go to make complex things. So let us take our home. So whenever we cook, so when we cut vegetables, we generate some waste time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in this case also, so we just think the only waste is there may be the peels of the vegetable or the some portions of the vegetable we treat it as waste, but that is the basically a traditional approach, but lot of things are there. So there are two ways of thinking about a waste. So anything for which customer is not paying is a waste, okay, or a no value addition to in a product, whatever product you offer to the customer. If any particular feature or characteristics which is not doing any value addition to customer, then example it is a waste. Okay. So with this, let me explain about what is traditional thinking about waste and what is the quality systems basic way of thinking about waste. So if you see the picture on the left side, so when you say waste, it's like a tip of a hidden iceberg. So whatever we see as a waste is only a small portion, which is above the visible area. But if you go in depth, you can find out lots of wastes, okay, which is being created or generated whenever whenever we offer a product or service to our customers. Okay. In traditional thinking, waste is not defined. Okay, it's simply treated as a waste. Okay. And what is the quantity or what is not it's not quantified in a traditional way of thinking. Okay, it just we say as waste. So for example, if I purchase 1 kg of onion and if I peel the skin, normally we throw as waste, we don't quantify. But when you go to systems basics training, when you apply the quality systems basic thinking, so whenever I buy 1 kg of onion and I peel off the skin, so normally I weigh the weight of the onion after removing the skin. Say for example, if I get 900 grams of onion out of 1 kg of onion with skin, so I assume 10% is generated as of the onion goes as a waste. Okay. For example, even if I buy anything, maybe if a fruit, okay, I remove the peel, which is not eatable or edible, then it sometimes we will be eating only 50% of the fruit and 50% of the thing goes as a classical waste. For example, if you buy a mango, if I buy 1 kg of mango, the edible portion in a mango would be somewhere close to 600 to 700 grams, and the balance 300 grams goes as a waste in form of a seeds and also in form of a skin. So this is how normally whenever we throw something out of a waste, we should quantify it. Then we realize the value, okay, what we are paying for money. So in that case, if, for example, if I buy mango for 1 kg for 100 rupees, so people may think that we are eating 1 kg of fruit for 100 rupees, but that is not the case. So basically, we are paying only for 700 grams of useful fruit. Okay, for the remaining 300% we are wasting. So that means the literal value addition by when we eat the mango is around, for 700 grams we are paying 100 rupees. It's not 1 kilo we are eating only 700 grams. I think you understood now what is how to define a waste and how it is quantified or tangible in case of a quality systems perspective. So react to large scale examples. So basically, normally we don't feel, for example, if I buy 1 kilo of onion and if I throw 100 grams of skin, I don't feel. But due to rains and the onion is selling out, say maybe 100 rupees per kg or 200 rupees per kg. So that point of time, if you some portion of the onion gets rotten, and if you throw away some 200 grams of onion, then you will start reacting. Yes, I should now minimize the purchasing of onions because a lot of the things is going as well. Otherwise, if it is cheap, you will not react to the 100 grams of onion. You will continue buying the same quantity. But when the price increases and also when the waste becomes more, then you will start reacting. So this is the traditional way of thinking. But whenever when you apply quality systems basics, so normally how the thought process, how it goes is, so instead of getting 900 grams of onion from 1 kilogram of onion, is there a scope? Can I get 910 grams of onion? This 10 grams maybe when I take, it's 1% of the whole weight. So this kind of incremental improvements what we do, which brings more value addition to the product or service what we offer, is the mindset which we should have when you have a quality system way of thinking. So reactive improvement, and in case of traditional thinking, and in quality system thinking, you go for a continuous improvement. So what is reactive improvement? As I suggested, as I told in the previous example, so for example, I purchased onion, I wasted 300 grams, then I realized, so I should not do this. But here, in case of systems training, you have average data. So whatever on in the case of the most extreme cases, what would be the best optimum output? You have data and you work based on data. So this is a basically continuous process. You don't stop. For example, tomorrow I see whether I can still go up to 920 grams or 930 grams. What are the things I have to do? Okay. So a classic example from Japan is, you might have heard watermelons, am I right? So how the watermelons basically have a size? Can anyone comment? How what is size? What the shape of the watermelon is?
Circular round.
Maybe spherical. I can say it's a spear.
Yeah.
Maybe some sort of for a simple purpose we keep as a spherical. Okay. So what happened in Japan is when they sent these watermelons to market, they felt in the truck. Okay. So when you keep one watermelon over the other, they found a lot of spaces as waste. Okay. That space is not filled in the packaging. Okay. So for example, if I take normally whenever you people, when you work in a product company or a machine manufacturing company, then when you want to export or import some machines, so normally if we go for a shipment by air or ship, so it's basically they take a volumetric capacity of the container as one of the factors to arrive on the transportation cost and freight. So in that similar way, when you take the volumetric composition of the watermelon, when they had the spherical shape, so they found around maybe 10 to 15% of the space is going as a waste. So basically what the Japanese agriculture universities they did is, so they put this mango into a small sort of with the watermelon is very in a very tender stage. When it is what we ரொம்ப பிஞ்சா இருக்கும்போது இங்கிலீஷ் எப்படி சொல்றேன்னு தெரியல. ஸோ ரொம்ப பிஞ்சா இருக்கும்போது they put this watermelon into a square shaped plastic container. Okay. When the size when it grows gradually, when it reaches the size of the container, then it accommodates the shape of the square or the square shaped box. So what happened is, when they did this technique, so they were able to they used to get a perfect cuboid shaped watermelons, with which they were able to get more weight for the same volumetric packaging. Okay, so this may look something odd, but this is a way of a quality system. When you start applying quality system basic in your all kinds of industry or even in your home. So to begin with, the 7 wastes, basically 7 wastes. So whenever we see a waste, so it can be split into 7 different categories. One is called the correction, overproduction, motion, material movement, weighting, inventory, and processing. So the acronym is COMMWIP. So COMWIP. So we say it as a COMWIP. So all the first letter of each word is coined into an acronym, so people can easily remember. It is called COMWIP. So for betterment, apply this COMWIP to every aspect of your life. It need not be applied only for your office work or your industry or whatever things you may do, but you can apply this concept in your home also. So to have a better savings in terms of money, and also to have a better quality, you also feel have a quality mindset. Okay, so probably I will explain each kind of waste with the example, then it will become more easily understandable. So probably I would do as interactive, so I may ask questions, so if you can respond, it will help us to understand more. So to begin with, 7 wastes is so to begin, the first waste is about the correction. So basically, going by the definition of correction, doing something over which requires additional motion, additional processing, additional inventory, and or waiting. All repair activities are opportunities to eliminate waste. So I will tell you why we are speaking about waste. For example, you might have heard about any factory which produces goods. Then they have their own capacities. Am I right? Even recently, also we have a power crisis. Why? Because we are having coal shortage. So we are not able to meet the demand of the people. Okay, demand for the electricity for the residential and also for industrial purposes. So they are doing load shedding. So capacity is always one factor, and how much we are meeting demand is the next factor with the capacity what is available. So for example, if you waste a lot of the product, then it becomes a waste. Here in this case, when we say correction, maybe I will say a classic example. Whenever we are, I'll just do a simple example. So whenever we are cooking, for example, by mistake, if you add more salt, what do? What happens to the food what you are cooking when you add more salt? So
Add water and collect it.
Add water and correct it, fine. So what happens to the quantity of the food what you are cooking?
The quantity increases.
So when you increase water to correct the salt, what happens to the other spices or masala what you have added? You defined those spices and other things for a particular quantity, am I right? When you add more water, the taste of the product gets altered, am I right?
Right.
The salt becomes okay, but what happens at the end of the day? What do you say? When you add more salt, the food, the first itself, you will lose the interest of tasting it, am I right? Because of the high salt. So somehow you will manage to correct it. So precisely this is what we say is correction in industry also. So whatever you do which is not intended to do, for example, as I told, adding water is a correction activity. So what happens? It indirectly affects the taste of the food what you are cooking. Similarly, so in the product, for example, if you are buying a brand new mobile phone, okay, if you came to know when it was produced in the factory, it has undergone rework, will you ready to buy the mobile phone?
No, certainly not.
You will not, am I right? So let's come to the engineering perspective. For example, I'm thinking I'm coming from a company for a campus interview. Okay, if I see one student has failed in one of the subjects, will I recruit him?
No, no.
So simple example in curriculum, you are intended to pass a particular semester, but if you have one arrear and clear it, it's a correction, am I right? You are doing correction there. So this is not a part of regular process. So just I brought this example to make you understand the concept called correction in the 7 ways. Okay, now I think you understood what is correction in 7 ways. So now you can apply this correction to anything in your day-to-day activity. You can think of the things as I told, by adding water to the cooking is also one waste. One more example for correction is you may spend more money. For example, you may buy a lesser quality product, then you will keep on spending more money to keep on working it. For example, you may go for some low cost items, so you feel this is cheap, but what happens when you buy it? It may not give the life as intended, so you might have to spend some additional money to extend its life. So this is also a sort of correction. Normally, what we do when you don't use the right things in place. So here the characteristics are additional resources are required to repair. Additional resource may be in terms of anything. It may be money, it may be time, it may be the manpower. Additional manpower is required to do the correction. Reactive organization. So here the company, we use the word reactive organization because first itself you should be very proactive. That means either you should add a right quantity of salt. You should have defined what could be the right quantity of salt you have to add, or at last you should add salt accordingly and you have to correct it. So you have to think of way how to, that's called a proactive approach. And that means without adding salt, you can add salt. The last is a proactive approach. Or you should add a less salt, and if required, you may add little more. Maybe in the last, maybe to everyone's taste, they can add their salt according to the taste what they require. So main causes is basically poor training, inadequate tools and large inventory. So here poor training, so if you're not a professional cook, or if you're doing cooking one day when your wife is not at home or your mom is not at home, then this is also called, we call it, training is a very important thing. When you do your work without untrained headcount, these kind of things will arrive. Things will case. So as example, if you see in the picture, there's a car production line. So for example, they are intended to produce every 1 minute one car. If they found one defective part in the line, so they have to rework that car. That means it may take 2 minutes to rework. That means one car output is lost. Am I right? If they rework the car for one more additional minute on one particular product, so instead of on that particular day, instead of they delivering 1,000 cars, they'll be able to deliver only 999 cars, because 1 minute is wasted in the rework of the car line, the car production line. So obviously that if you are producing one car less, means then you are sending one car less to the market. Obviously you can think of the money, how much you will lose in the entire supply chain of the car production and to the consumer when he gets a car. So moving to the next thing, overproduction. Okay, so you may ask me, in the previous example you told me that you had a line capacity of 1,000 cars, and particularly you produce only 999 cars. You told it is not good. So today there is no rework, but I produced today 1,000 one car. I produced one car extra. Is it good? It is also not good. That means if you have produced one car extra, means that means you might have compromised on doing some work. You might have not done the things in a right way in the 1,000 parts you produced. That's the reason you had an additional opportunity to produce one more car. Normally overproduction is also wasted. Coming to a classic example, we can take tomatoes as a classic example. Sometimes it will be selling at 10 kg, 10 rupees per kg, and one time it may sell to 100 rupees per kg. Why this price is fluctuating?
Overproduction.
Because of overproduction. So you have fixed demand. So normally we should always produce to the required demand. If you produce more, then your price will come down. When you produce less, the price will increase. This is the basic economics theory. Am I right? Demand versus supply. Okay, here also, so normally in Japanese thing, so they call a concept called Kanban or just in time. So you should produce only based on order. You should produce. Don't produce and keep anything. That will be considered as a waste. Okay, so here it's basically definition is generation of excess parts, information, etc. are too soon or too fast in process. The waste of overproduction often causes other forms of waste. Large inventory within the characteristics, large inventory within the process, busy areas, large movement of parts and people, increase staffing, energy costs. Unbalanced, main cause is unbalanced operations, lack of communication, high equipment and downtime. So these are the causes of overproduction. Any examples you like to give for anybody can give an example for overproduction? As I gave a class, you can say anything. Just you can correlate this concept to your everyday walks of life, and you can say overproduction to any aspect. For example, if you say generation, electricity, we are electrical engineers, am I right? Many of that, I think the team would be today is from electrical engineering team. So normally in the power transmission and distribution, we have one thing called the load curve, am I right? So we normally switch on gensets from the power generation stations according to the demand, and we should switch off. So one of the concept, for example, thermal power stations, you cannot start and stop easily. So normally what they do, so they will try to switch off the low, the like hydro stations, and they switch off in the nights, and they continuously run thermal stations. So this is also one way of avoiding overproduction. For example, if all the gensets work 24/7, the demand is not the same throughout the day. So that means we are wasting the resources, maybe in the form of coal or maybe in the form of water which is stored in the dam. So overproduction, a classic example is electricity generation based on the load curve. Is also an example for overproduction. Sorry. So coming to the next thing is motion, unnecessary work movements by a team member or machine which is not necessary in adding a value to the product. Here characteristics extra walking, excessive use of force, excess handling. So main causes standardized work sequence not followed, not planned or followed, work site poorly laid out. So coming to a common example in our home. So whenever you start cooking a dish, so normally what should you do? Just you can feel the difference. For example, if I want to make any dish, then I should have all the ingredients kept ready in an acceptable condition to the stove. If I forget something, then while cooking, I have to move away from the stove and bring that maybe from refrigerator or maybe from the cupboard. So it's there you are doing some unnecessary movement. That point of time, what happens? There is a chance that the food may get spoiled because of overeating without your presence there. So this is a classic example of motion which correlates in the 7 forms of waste. So, for example, if you see in the picture, if the operator who fixed the tires, okay, so we should define a sequence. So, for example, he start from the to fix the tires, he should start fixing the tire first in the driver side, front driver side. Then he should move to the rear side of the car, to the left side, rear left. Then he should move to rear right. Then he should come to front left. So the sequence we have to define. Otherwise, what he may do, for example, he may put one tire on the front, then he may move to the opposite side of the other side. Then he is moving unnecessarily there. Then he has to come back to the same side. So you can see this is not a right approach. So whenever we do a sequence, even if it is repeated operation, if we do in a sequence, this gives lots of benefits to us. So unwanted movement is also a motion. One more classic example is, for example, if you are going out to a shop, maybe you have to go to a pharmacy, you have to go to a vegetable store, you have to go to buy a grocery. So for example, if these three are located in a line, for example, you should try to normally you make a plan, right? First I should go to this shop which is near to me, then I should go to the next stop, then next shop. Otherwise, if you go first, I go to this shop which is far away, then I come to my nearest shop, then I have to go to the one more shop which is in between the forest and nearest shop. So these are some things where you can think of. It's a unwanted motion is a waste. So basically material movements here definition: unnecessary transportation or storing or rearranging of items, parts, equipments which is not required for production. Characteristics: moving or rearranging of materials, temporary storage areas. Main causes: large batches, lack of workplace organization. So for example, again coming to a classic example in the kitchen. So for example, if you keep everything near the stove, this will becomes also difficult. Am I right? What is required should be available. What is not required, it has to be uh, kept in a place which is not required. For example, you may you may use some special tools for while during cooking. So those things which are using very rarely, you can keep away from the frequently used items. So this will save you unnecessary movement of the material. So this you should think. For example, I'm using weekly once, I should keep it somewhere else. I'm using yearly once. Normally we put it in the in our maybe the loft or in the maybe in a different room where we are putting some unwanted things. So we keep it there. Whatever you're using daily, you keep it in a very accessible place. So this is also one example, which is called, which is also one of the 7 ways, the material movement. It may, you can correlate anything to your home example. So moving to the next thing is waiting. Classic example: to remain in one place while doing something other than that is related to the work, the task in hand. It is unproductive use of time as it adds no value to the process. So characteristics: worker waiting for a machine or another worker, waiting for people or waiting for information, then waiting for meetings to start on time is also a waste. Main causes: operations not balanced, then broken equipment is also one of the causes. So one classic example which we can correlate to waiting process. For example, when you want to meet a doctor, so normally if you fix an appointment and go to the doctor, then you can minimize the waiting time. So whenever we want to meet some people, so if you fix an appointment and go, then you will not be wasting your time and also his time. Otherwise, if you go with an appointment, if something is urgent and he needs to attend you, then he has also stop the work what he is doing and come and support you. So what becomes a waste for both of us. So waiting is a classic example. One more classic example is maybe whenever you're going to office or college, because of some issues on the road, you may be got stuck up in a traffic jam. So this is when you wait in the traffic jam, is also waste of time. So not only you're waiting, you're also wasting the fuel of the vehicle. You're also wasting your useful time. So for example, in the college, if you have 45 hours of 45 minutes of class, and if you're waiting in the road and you're wasting 5 minutes, then you're losing 5 minutes in your class. That means you are losing some information or some subject which is very important for you when you go to college, or when you go to meet somebody. For example, or if you want to go to a movie, and if you're stuck up somewhere, the movie will not wait for you. So the movie will start. So you may lose the first 5 minutes, where you might have missed some important sequences, which is the vital for the understanding the movie. So this is also one example for the waiting. For example, if you go to any industry, okay, if I buy any machine, then the life is for 8 years. Normally they amortize, and then after they make it as the book value 0. If I don't use the machine effectively for 8 years, okay, maybe so many reasons. Maybe raw material is not available, the operator is not available, or there is no demand in market. If I keep it idle, then The machine is waiting to produce, obviously. That means, but I have to pay for the interest which I have spent for buying the machine. So all these things, those are going for a waste. So normally waiting is always a waste. It may be any forms. So moving to inventory. So too much of anything which may take up space, lead to obsolescence, impact safety, cause cause waste of motion or waste of material movement is called a inventory. Characteristics: large receiving docks, extra bins, racks and fork trucks you require to handle large inventory. So main causes: unlevel scheduling, no pull system, too many material storage areas. So we'll come to the same example. So normally when you go to market to buy some vegetable, one day if the vegetable is cheap, you'll be motivated to buy more. Am I right? So instead of buying 1 kg, so when the price drops, normally we may take 1.5 kg or 2 kg also extra sometimes. Similarly, the food grains. So when the harvests are coming out, normally that point of time, the cost will be cheap. So some people used to buy the food grains for a year and keep in their home. So what happens if you buy maybe 5 or 10 bags of rice for 1 year? So it occupies space in your home, and also in some point of time, the grains may get spoiled. Then you may be forced to clean and use the grains. So this is one of the classic example. So you should not have too much of anything is good for nothing. Am I right? That's a saying also. So always we should buy things which is required, and we should not buy anything extra. So this is applicable for any company or anything also, for in any works of life. So there's also a saying in Tamil, போதுமென்ற மனமே பொன் செய்யும் மருந்து. So which means you have what you want. Okay. Maybe one more classic example is maybe if you go for some function, the food may be tasty. So if you eat too much, then you will feel uncomfortable in your body. Am I right? If you eat too much also. So you cannot take more inventory into your stomach. Okay. Moving to the next paste is called processing. Doing something the customer does not perceive as adding value to the product is called a additional processing. Characteristics: clicking a torque wrench twice when one is sufficient by the quality standards, or polishing the underside hood of a mixer pallets. This is basically so when you do which is not intended, is called processing. A main causes: lacks of standards, no existing or inefficient procedures. A classic example I can say, for example, yeah, the exams. I think people who are a faculty, they would have, when you evaluate exam paper for a particular question, if the student has written something which is not appropriate, so normally you will not give marks. Am I right? So which is irrelevant to the particular context, what the staff is expecting as answer. If something is written extra by a student, so the faculty will not give marks if there is no, it doesn't have an appropriate content or the appropriate expected answer for the particular question. So this is also a classic example. For a 1 mark, for 5 mark question, if you write 1 page of expected answer is fine, but if you write 2 or 3 pages of unwanted things, it becomes over processing, but it will not give you, it will not also fetch you any additional marks. So this is also one example for the process, additional processing. Hope now you understood the 7 ways. So any questions? So here I have made a small chart, basically how you can think of 7 ways which is happening in your day-to-day life, and how to eliminate the waste and become a more productive person, or a more to make your more, add more quality to your work what you do. Any questions on the 7 ways, or any clarifications you need on the 7 types of wastes?
No, sir. No, sir. Can proceed.
Okay, just I made a small table here for each waste. I have given example and what is the cause, and I have put the action to improve. So, for example, correction. So this is the first waste. So as Vasant rightly said, so excess salt in a dish is a example for correction. So why? Because salt quantity not defined is one of the reason, or by mistake we might have added more. We might have added more salt. So what is the action you have to follow is to train the person who is cooking, or you have to standardize. For example, for this particular dish, if you prepare for 4 people, then you should add 10 grams of salt. Okay, not 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay, if you say 1 tablespoon of salt, some may take like a scoop over the tablespoon and put the salt. One may take a flat level of the tablespoon and put salt. So normally whenever you define anything, it should be very precise specifications whenever you give. So classic example, as I told, for 4 people, 10 grams of salt is more specific than for cooking any dish. For 4 people, you have to add 1 tablespoon of salt. Okay. So this is how basically this is the action. Normally what I told us standardize. So standardization and training is one action we can improve. For same thing, maybe different cost also may be there. Okay. By mistake, you might have added sugar instead of salt also. So there you cannot correct. Then it becomes a complete waste. Okay. So coming to the next is overproduction. So cooking excess food. So for example, what happens sometimes in the home, maybe our wife or mother may think to, so for dinner, you all people come home. So they may start preparing the food. So by the time on the way you might have met your friend, you might have gone to a restaurant, had food and come to home. So what happens? The mother had prepared without planning. So the food for one person is going as a waste. Okay. So we have to think of people who are suffering without food. So and wasting food is a national crime. Am I right? We are wasting the resource of so many people who had put their contribution to bring the food to your table. So similar way. So whatever is not required, so we should avoid by doing a proper planning. Okay. So you should think whenever you want to buy something also, you should think whether it's required or not required. How much, for example, if I want to buy a high-end mobile, so we have to think obviously. So what will be the futures? Will it be sufficient? Will it be helpful for my day-to-day work? Whether it will add some value to my work, what I'm doing. So all these things we should think. Basically, if you take any mobile, it's going to solve the purpose to call someone to speak. Maybe an additional feature, you may use some social media. Am I right? So beyond it, we are not going to use anything. So maybe I can to do this work, I can go for a basic mobile, maybe within a budget of 10-15K. But even for 1 lakh or more than that price, we have mobiles in the market doing the same function beyond it. But those features may not be useful for you also. I told this as a just an example to make it more clear. So next is on the motion. So searching for items while cooking. This is also basically an example for unwanted movement. So workplace organization is the best. So you have to keep everything ready in a easily accessible condition when you are cooking. So that basically it reduces tension also when you make cook. So cooking becomes more interesting and it becomes I can say you will start to love cooking work. If you start do anything in organized way, you will start loving the work what you are doing. So basically improvement is access to improve 5S implementation. So we'll come to 5S in the next slides. So there I'll explain what is 5S. Material movement, buying more quantity than required. As I told, so if I buy and keep 10 bags of rice, then I have to think where I have to keep. So my kitchen may have only place to store 1 bag of rice. So the remaining I have to store in a different storeroom area or in different rooms. So then every month, then you have to bring the rice bag here from that particular storeroom and use it. Or if you may have one big bag of rice, maybe for example, if I have purchased 75 kg bag of rice, then you have to every time you have to go to the place. You can't move that heavy weight, then you have to go and take the rice quantity as much you require and bring it and until you consume it. So this also called unnecessary material movement. So basically a culture change. Basically the cost here is mindset. So normally whenever we think we should save money when we are getting items for lesser price, that is our mindset. So we should change the mindset. We should think twice. Even if it is cheaper, will it be useful for a long time? Then only you should think and buy even when the price is cheaper. So basically it's a mindset. So mindset basically is a cultural change. So next is waiting. So waiting for cooking to be over. Example, work sequence not defined. For example, if you want to prepare 4 dishes, so for example, to prepare one dish, starting from cutting, cleaning, then cooking and finishing, it may take 30 minutes means. So if I want to cook 4 dishes, it may take 2 hours. Okay. For example, if you take rice, when you put in cooker, there is no work because that will happen automatically. So by the time you can make use for some cutting vegetables or getting things ready for the next dish. So this is basically how normally this is called as a parallel processing. What we do, am I right? So one more classic example of parallel processing, which is which I can say is whenever you are driving, you may use your mobile, you may attend your calls. So this is basically hazardous, am I right? So don't go to that example. I'm saying parallel processing here. It's something which is safer and which is adding value to the work what you are doing it. Okay. Next is inventory. So buying more quantity than required. So not aware of the hidden cost. So normally inventory is hidden cost. As I told, you may buy bulk, but you may need space to store it. So you're occupying space. So for example, if you are in rented premises where you are paying per square feet rent for a factory or office, then you will not think of keeping a space unused. Am I right? So this is also you should go for a very lean concept and you should always take what is required. So basically this is to training we can elevate the how to handle inventory. We can have a good mindset. Next is on the processing. Too much of cooking of vegetables. So this also, as I told, is a classic example for over processing. So for example, if it takes 5 minutes to boil a vegetable, if I boil for 10 minutes, even the vegetable will be cooked. What happens? All the nutrients and the vitamins would have been lost. So for a vegetable, we know the time how much it has to be cooked to retain all its properties. We should do only the required amount of cooking. If you overcook also, it's going to be a waste. So basically it happens because of no knowledge of the process of the other product what you are doing. So training on failure modes and mistake proofing is also one example how we can avoid processing. So hopefully I think all of you understood about the 7 ways and how to eliminate 7 ways. So can anyone of you tell what are something might have come to your mind as a waste, what you do in your day-to-day activities? Maybe 1 or 2 examples will help me. So I think that will give me confidence that you understood the concept. So can anyone of you tell one of the activity or anything what you feel as a waste after undergoing this session? Some examples, 1 or 2 examples.
I mean, sometimes we get buy one get one free. Buy only if you need.
You're right. So this is a classic example for inventory. Am I right? So this comes under inventory and also the middle movement. So buy one get one free. For example, then instead of carrying 1 kg, you will carry 2 kgs. Am I right? That becomes a overburden on you. Am I right? When you want to carry. That's one example, and 50% of the thing what you got may get expired without using it in time. Am I right?
Exactly.
So this is one example for buy one get one free. Yeah, it's a good example. One more example from someone.
Attending traveling for a meeting which can be done in online.
Yes, this is a good example. So this is basically waiting. Am I right? The time you take for going to that meeting is you're doing some useful work at that point of time. So this is also a good example for which comes under the category of waiting. Yeah, one more example. I think people understood the concept. I'm happy. Maybe one or two examples. Okay.
Purchasing at going to a department store without a purchase list.
That's also comes under planning. So then you will end up in buying unwanted things. So this also becomes additional inventory and
Too much of emotion.
Too much of emotion. Yes, of course. So planning as I told is a classic example. Okay, that's also a good example. So that's what. So when you start thinking, whenever you do an activity, just apply the 7 things and see how much validation you are doing. Okay, then you will realize with the waste, you will start realizing the waste and you will try to eliminate. So personally, it has benefited me a lot, Vasant, to be frank with you. This applying this concept in my day-to-day life has given me a lot of benefits. Okay. As you said, I used to buy things extra in the past whenever it's required. When it is cheap or when we see it's given an attractive price, but later we realize it's going for utter waste. Hopefully, I think you're on understood the concept. So maybe I'll move to the next thing. Okay, let's move to the 5S. Okay, 5S is basically, I think people have some familiarity about 5S. Can anyone tell what is 5S? If you're aware. Otherwise, I think I'm going to explain, but just to hear from the audience, maybe what is 5S.
Sort, shine. That's what I remember.
Fine, no issue.
Sustain, sort, standardize, sustain.
Okay, nice. You're right, more or less. You're right. So basically, 5S is basically 5 Japanese words. Okay. This basically is a basic building block. Why Japan? You love Japan and Japanese products. Okay. So that is always a saying. You never get a second chance to create a first impression. Am I right? We say in English as first impression is best impression. Am I right? So
Yes,
first time itself you have very bad impression. Next time you will do it again. You will not do. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So you lose the motivation. Am I right? To do it again or to do it again or to go to the particular place again. Am I right? For example, if you go to a restaurant first time, if the food impresses you, then you'll go next time. If the food is not, if it is not tasty, will you go there again? You will not go. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, for example, I have put 2 pictures. Am I right? There you can see cars on the roads. There are 2 pictures. In both the pictures, there are cars on the roads. So which you like more, the picture on the left or which are on the right?
The right one is more organized.
Huh?
The right one is more organized.
More organized. Okay. What will happen in the right side? What will happen in the left side picture? What may be the result?
Right side, the same traffic will keep on flowing.
Yes.
First one, there's a possibility of congestion of traffic.
Yes, you're right. So this is what classically what we do. Classically what we do, I have to say we also do and we experience in India. Am I right?
Yes.
So we don't follow the lane discipline. Am I right?
Yeah.
Even I also violate. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Okay, but I will be more nowadays. But I am more cautious about it, these things nowadays. I used to follow. I'm following lane discipline for more than 10 years. After going into the company, learning all these things for more than 10 years, I follow. Try to follow lane discipline. But what point of time they'll make you to go out of your threshold and violate it? So that's how it happens. Even if you follow lane discipline, others will not allow you to follow the lane discipline. Okay. So why I brought this example here is basically the culture. So why Japanese is they are accounted for their best quality is their mindset and their culture, because quality mindset is embedded into their culture. In our culture, especially with Indians, we don't have a quality mindset. Do you all agree with me or not? It's not, this quality mindset is not embedded in our culture, in our mindset from birth onwards. Maybe we might have improved these days, but as a broad perspective, our consciousness on quality mindset and following certain disciplines, all these things are not in the Indian culture. Do you all agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So moving to the next thing. So 5S. So basically this table, okay, just I used how normally I use the training for the new joinees and the operators who are coming to our company. So basically 5S, there are you can see two green columns. One is on the original 5S, which is on the left, and also the next green column, which is on the middle, more on the right side. So the original 5S is from Japanese. It is Seiri. It's set in order. Sorry, it is tidiness. Second is Seitan, orderliness. The third is Seiso or cleanliness. The fourth one is Seiketsu or the standardization, and fifth one is Shitsuke. Okay. So when you see the English meanings, you can see which are given in the next column. So organization, neatness, cleaning, standardization, discipline. Okay. So 5S, it's a 5-step approach. So we have to go one by one. Okay. So normally we go 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S. Some companies will, some of us will start 5S. We will stop at 1S itself. We will not go to the next S. Okay. Into second S. Some people, if you they may go up to 3S, they will stop there. They will not go to the next level. But Japanese, whatever they do, they always follow the 5-step approach and they excel in the way they do everything. Okay. So 5S is not only applicable for any, it's not industry specific. It is applicable to all walks of life. You can follow 5S in all walks of life, in office, in home, or in society. Everywhere you can apply this 5S to have good results. Okay, to lead a quality life, I can say. Okay. So when you come to the QSB, there also the 5S is made to sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain. So the words may be different, but the meanings implied are the same meanings. So this is readable. So this is just a kept as reading material. So this you can keep it for your reading and understanding. So I directly jump to the 5S and I explain you on the first S. So first S is seiri. Okay, it's a Japanese word which will translate to the English meaning of sort. So basically very simple. If you see the before and after picture in a cupboard, all the things are dumped into a cupboard. Okay. So very simple. In the after picture, what they have done is they have just segregated what is required. They kept the required things only in the cupboard and they have removed the unwanted items. Now, which looks better? The left picture, right picture looks better.
The right one.
Right one. Similarly, tomorrow, just think, go and look into your wardrobe. How you have kept the things, whether you have kept in an organized way or not. Just think. So whether you have kept the required things only in the wardrobe or you are unwanted things also in the wardrobe. I mean to say here, unwanted things in the year. For example, you may have a set of dresses which you use for your daily use, and some set of dresses which you use monthly once, maybe to go to a temple or go to a function, and maybe yearly once may use some items, maybe for some sort of celebration or something. So you think so? What you have to do, and some dress which may not be suitable also maybe also lying inside the cupboard. So just organize the things in your cupboard. Maybe you can keep the things which you use daily in a very accessible portion of the cupboard, and which you use very rarely you can put in the top side of the cupboard. This is just a simple thing, okay, which makes your life more easy. You will not spend more time in searching a suitable dress. Do you agree with me or not? As a classic example for this sorting out.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, for example, when you go to kitchen, okay, so some things you may be using it frequently. For example, salt. For any dish you cook, you have to use the salt. some items, some spices you may use very rarely, am I right? So that can be kept maybe a little bit far away from the stove. So when you plan, you can take and use. Okay, and also for example, and then you have your files. Okay, some files you may use daily, some files you may take and use and refer some documents, files or books, whatever the things may be, which you use less, you can pack and keep in a different place. Whatever you use, it should be always kept in a accessible place. This is the basic expectation of the sorting or the 5S, first 5S theory. Okay, next is set on. The second is set on or set in order. So basically, as I told, categorize. So I already covered the second is in the previous topic itself. So if you see the picture, everything is kept. So next in the second picture, you see after implementing 5S. I have put one more small picture. So whenever you see the drawer in a cupboard, see how they have organized the things inside a cupboard. So it looks nice, am I right, to see? So they kept the markers. They have a place, unique place for everything. So they have a place for the pens. They have a proper place for the highlighters. They have a place for the planning, the diary or the planners. They have a place for a compact disc. They have a place for a defined place for a scissor. They have a defined place for the glue stick. So everything is organized. So when somebody sees this cupboard, they will love to use this. Am I right? But when you dump everything inside the cupboard, will it becomes easy? Will it be pleasant to use? You will not feel pleasant. Even though if you have a high costly furniture, if you don't use it properly with the proper store things, then it becomes a unnecessary waste. And also when you set the things in order, basically you will know standard packs. For example, if you see here, they have 5 color highlighters, am I right? So they have standard pack. They have all the 5 colors. For example, if tomorrow one is getting over, you will throw it away. So that base becomes empty. So whenever next time when you open the drawer, you see it empty. So you may feel, yes, I have to fill the space with the blue marker. Then you will buy only the blue marker. Otherwise, what happens? Irrespective, you have used all the colors or not, you will buy all the 5, and they will also get dried in a due course of time. So 2 or 3 markers without use will go, we'll throw it away without using it. So when you set things in order, so things become more transparent. So what happens? You will realize what you really want and what you use more, and also you know when to replenish it or replenish it. So this becomes more transparent and more it gives you more visibility on what you have. So categorize how often I do, then determine location. So a best place for every item is the concept. If not, then you use a shadow board. Shadow board is nothing but if you see in they have a shaped containers. So in CD place you can keep only CD. You cannot keep some other things. That's thing what we call as a shadow board. Okay. Then set limits for material levels. So standard packs, work in process, container size, and identification. So these are the things. For example, I remember Vasanth, your engineering project. I remember you did an engineering project on a refrigerator, intelligent refrigerator, am I right? 20 years before.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
monitors,
right.
if it monitors the amount of milk inside the fridge. If the milk
Yes.
is consumed beyond certain limit, then it gives a trigger to you to buy milk, am I right?
You are right. You're right.
So this basically set limits for material level. So this is a kind of a smart what you can nowadays we call as a smart device. So this is also coming from the basic concept of 5S only, Vasanth. Okay.
Okay.
So now I move to the third S. So basically, SACE or this shine process. I think unfortunately I missed the picture. I think I should have the picture. Yes, its picture is there. So if you see, is the picture visible? I think it's not clear to me. Maybe because of some display reason or something. So I think the picture is not visible. Before and after, basically shine. So whenever you go to any Japanese company, you will see everything shining on the road. I mean, the cars also will be shining. Whenever you go to their workplace, it will be neatly organized. Okay. A classic example, when I joined Precall, okay, So when I go to office, the first thing, when I enter the office, the first 5 minutes, the work is different for all of us. You can someone guess what is the first thing we have to do? What I was doing when I go to office in pre-call for the first 5 minutes. So the first activity is first I have to clean my work area. So I have to clean my area where the computer is available. I have to clean the keyboard. I have to take the keyboard, clean beneath it. I have to clean the monitor. It's physical cleaning. Okay. Then only I should start my work. Similarly, all the operators, when they come into the factory, first 5 minutes they will spend to clean the machines. After cleaning the machines, only they'll start the work. So why we have to do this cleaning? So whenever you do cleaning, then really you will come to know if there is any issues in the machines or not. If you don't clean it, you will not notice certain defects. So obviously it will lead to some major breakdowns. Okay. So maybe some classic examples. For example, when you allow too much of mud to accumulate on your cars, so what happens? This may start some rusting on the cars. So when you keep the car clean every day, so your car will not become rust, and also you will see if any defects are, particularly if any rusting starts, will come to know. Otherwise, what happens? When your car is covered with mud, what happens if there is a small amount of rust in a particular area? The rust will start developing more rapidly with the reaction with the mud. So this is one example. So that's the reason normally it's recommended to keep everything clean to see underlying condition of the machine and take actions in a preventive mode. Otherwise, it will lead to unwanted breakdowns. Okay, that's the reason I put in blue. Out of standard conditions can be easily identified and corrected. So it's the third is shine. It's a classic example. Normally, we also do in home. So we daily clean the floors. Am I right? Then maybe weekly twice we clean the kitchen tabletop area where we cook. Example, I'm saying, okay. And yearly once we do the whitewash of the walls. Then maybe 3 months once, maybe we make monthly once we may clean the carpets and other things. So this is also a sort of shining activity only. Okay. So here the Japanese normally they define a standard. So how frequently you have to clean. Okay. So that we have to define and follow. That's the intention of having this third as called shine. Not only cleaning, you should define a frequency and you should they follow it. Okay. So for example, whenever you go to big airports or malls, or if you go to big shopping complexes, in the washrooms they have, you might have seen some checklists, check sheets they have put with some signatures. So basically it's a standard of cleaning and the frequency of cleaning that somebody had done. So it ensures that the area is clean and safe to use. So that's a one classic example how they define frequency of cleaning and what to be clean, how to be clean. This is also so defined as a process of 3S. The third S. They are the 6S side. So next is the 5S. The fourth 5S is called the Sheiketsu. So basically it's standardization. So standardization is mainly we are focusing on the area visually and mark location for each of them. So color coding for designated areas, designate area shapes, consistent label height and color throughout the facility, storage containers and storage area practices. So if you see here, I have given some different color of waste bins. So normally, if you go to any industry or any hospital, if you have visited, you might have, they may be using different color of bins to sort the waste. Am I right? So normally any waste when you throw away, if you sort at the place of generation, it becomes easy for handling. You know, the major issue what all Indian cities are facing is people don't know how to handle the waste because we dump everything. We don't do any sort of any do of sorting of waste at place. A classic example in our homes, whenever if you go, we'll have only one trash bin, am I right? This is a old mindset. So one trash bin, you dump everything. You dump the waste, the plastic waste. Maybe you may buy something new. Then you'll be coming with the plastic wraps. So you put the plastic covers into the same bin. Then some food is left over. You put the same over the plastic. Then you put some rotten vegetables, something. So what becomes, it becomes very difficult to handle this waste when you throw into a dustbin. So the corporation team becomes, for them it becomes very difficult to handle this mixed waste. But when you sort and give the waste, for example, which is recyclable, non-recyclable, okay, when you sort the waste at the place where you generate the waste, it becomes easy for the people to handling the waste. So for example, if you have two buckets in your home, two trash boxes, where you can put the recyclable waste into one bin and non-recyclable waste into one bin and give it to corporation, then it becomes easy for the corporation team to handle the waste in a more effective way. So the landfills will become less. So you will not find the waste everywhere lying in the road. All these things will become eliminated. So, but that's a simple thing to what we have to start from home. But when you go to an industry, normally they will have different color-coded bins to sort the waste. So, for example, if you go to any workshop inside Coimbatore, they may have a lathe. They may do some machining works on the metals. So they will generate metal scraps. So for cleaning the machine, they use cotton waste. So that becomes a cotton waste. Then they may receive some plastic containers for the parts what they receive. That will be going for a waste. So, and also the people there, they will eat food. So that's also becomes one more way, or more type of waste. So when they start sorting into different color bins with the different types of waste, it becomes more easy for handling waste. That's the intention of standardization of anything. Okay. So, and also if you see the checklist what I have given here. So for example, as I told in the previous case, so what to clean, how to clean. Okay. So they have given a checklist. So what and all they have to clean every day, what and all they have to check every day. So it becomes easy for the person who uses it, the machine. So today, one of the operator, I have trained him, but I don't give a document. What happens tomorrow? The guy goes out and different person comes in there. He will not know what to do. But if I have a document available in the machine, what type of cleaning I have to do, and what type of cleaning I have to do every day, and what type of cleaning I have to do every week, and what type of cleaning I have to do every month, and what type of cleaning I have to do every year. Okay, then this becomes more standardized way, and also things will happen in a more organized way. So moving to the last, yes, sustaining. Okay, as I told in the beginning itself. So after I complete my today's seminar, I think people all you will get motivated to start the 5S. I think maybe 1 day, 2 days you may do with the start of the first test, then you will lose the motivation. Okay, that should not be the case. So you should have the aspiration to have the complete 5S. So that's the reason I told the cultural mindset. Okay. So our cultural mindset is we don't give a certain limit, but Japanese normally they follow discipline, they follow the standards, they follow the rules. So basically sustenance comes from by doing something we do, practice continuously. So how we do, basically it's a leadership commitment. If you take a company, so the leader from the top drives the entire company. So for example, I have taken a simple example so that everyone can understand. I can give example from my company also, but it won't be easily understandable to all of you. That's the reason I have taken the Swachh Bharat mission launched by our Honorable Prime Minister. So if you see here, it's basically targeted to create a clean India and project India as a clean country to the others and also to our citizens. So Modi is driving from the top, and he is trying to promote the Swachh Bharat everywhere. So, and also he is driving this throughout the country. So, and also every year, so not only they do for 1 year, the Swachh Bharat mission is stopped there. So every year, for each city, they are sending a teams to check the cleanliness level of city, and they are giving ranking. Okay. So if you see the list, I have given one more list for the Swachh Bharat ranking list for 2021, and I understand Indore has emerged first rank with 56. So 56,5618.14 score. So how they gave the score is basically based on survey methodology they given below. So they go and see what kind of things. So they go with a questionnaire. They go and check evidences whether the city is performing well. So based on that they give some marks. So based on that they are giving ranking. So sustenance will happen only when you keep on doing and checking whether things are happening in right way or not. So we call as a layered process audit in the industrial area, and in the government they call it as a survey or ranking methodology in government side. Example for is to identify the clean cities. So 5S evaluation. So this is one classic example I am giving it here. So similarly, you can develop your own check sheet for the area what you are going to do. Okay. So this may be applied for your college, this may be applied for your company, this may be applied for your home. But only thing is the question, the concept will remain same, and the only thing is the execution and the monitoring will be different for different areas. That's the key thing which you have to keep in mind. So any questions on 5S? Examples you can say that I'm doing 5S. Maybe you can say something which I will also be happy to hear from you about this. I'm doing this as one of the 5S. Today I came to know this is a part of 5S, something like that. I'm doing it unknowingly, but I know this is what I'm doing is a part of 5S. Maybe some examples you can give from your day-to-day life.
Sorting the shelf.
Fine. Next, how many of you are using computers?
Almost everyone.
Have anyone of you following 5S for computers? Do you follow 5S for your computer?
No.
Computer is the best place to implement 5S, because many time, okay, even including me, still today, for one searching one information, I'll be keep on searching. Am I right? This happens or not? Do you agree with all of you? Agree with me or not?
It happens to everyone.
Am I right? So, but when you organize data in a computer, maybe you can keep one folder. For example, I keep in my name Ramesh. So I keep some details. For example, bank details. Then I keep my office details. Then I keep my photos. Everything in an organized way, in an order folder. What happens? It becomes more easy. Am I right? The next classic example. How many apps you people use in your mobile phone? Tell me. How many apps you use?
Maximum of 10 apps.
10 apps?
Probably 10 at the max.
That much only you're using, Vasanth?
Yeah, most probably that's what we frequently use.
But how many apps you have installed in your
Yeah, that's something huge, and what we use is only very little.
I'm coming to the point that this is a right place to apply 5S. So for example, okay, so maybe I can show in my iPad itself. Now if you see my screen, there are a lot of icons. It's not looking good, am I right? But if when I go here, what happens? See, if I put it in a folder, it becomes more organized, am I right?
And easy to search.
Yeah, easy to search. So if I put suggestions, I put recently added, I put utilities, I put photos and videos, entertainment. For example, you can find Prime Video, then Apple TV, then podcast, everything in one area. Then others which my kids use. Then social media. Then I have this iPhone app for chatting, and I have this FaceTime. Then I have product improvement. I have my Teams. I have the Siri. I have my Keynote. I have my other things into one folder, and information and reading. So I have the tips, translate, and some short and something related to the share market. So when you organize the icons, something like this, it becomes your mobile becomes more friendly to use. Am I right? So out of which I may be using only one icon. Say example, I may be using Safari, but I can easily quickly find out. But when I go to this screen, I have to search for Safari. Am I right?
Yeah.
So this becomes a more clutter free. So this is a classic example. So you can all start improving 5S on your mobile phone. It's a simple activity which you can start doing. Then it becomes easy for all of you to understand. So let me quickly finish because I have only one or two slides. So the last slide is Pokayoke. So Pokayoke itself, we can do a session for more than 1 hour, but I don't want to bore you that on a sad Sunday evening when everyone has some family commitments. So I just gave a definition. Pokayoke means in Japanese, it's kind of mistake proofing or error proofing is called as Pokayoke, is a Japanese terminology. So error proofing device, it may be two way you can avoid errors. One is error proofing device which you will not allow you to make mistakes. So which devices which prevent the manufacture or assembly of non-conforming products, a preventive control. And another one is called cannot pass or cannot accept. The part is produced, but it will allow only to pass good products. It will not allow failed products to pass. So this is called a dedicative control. So there are always two types of Pokayokes. One is used for preventive control, another one is called dedicative control. So more and more automotive field, the manufacturers push the tier 1 component like us to have a preventive controls. So for example, in the first image, what you see here, okay, let us assume this electrical connection, okay. Then if you have the pins of same size, there is a chance that you may put the pin in the reverse direction. So that you may reverse the polarity in terms of electrical engineering. So it may damage the power supply or it may damage the product. Any one of the things will happen. So, but you have a proper design such a way that only it can be assembled always in the right direction, irrespective of the orientation of the plug. Then it becomes a preventive Pokayoke. So classic this what is this puzzle, okay, the kids used to play na. This puzzle is also a example for a Pokayoke. So you cannot put them in a wrong place. So this is also a cause of a preventive control. So one more classic example is a SIM card. So SIM card you cannot put in the reverse direction your mobile, am I right? Your mobile not allowed to put the SIM card in a reverse direction. So these are some examples of preventive control. Preventive control is something like, for example, when I have a product, when I keep in the machine, it will say whether it's okay or not okay. Okay, and also what will do? So it allow you to take the bad parts, and if it is a defective part, that will directly push it into a trash bin. So this kind of some equipments is a pass or fail test is called as an example of a relative control. So for another things where we have data controllers, for example, the safety dongles. Okay, safety dongles are a classic example, or your keys, the latest keys. For example, nowadays we are getting in passenger cars, we are getting keys of same size, same type, and that too with comes with a handy remote controlled key. But even if 2 or 3 cars are parked in the same area, you will be able to unlock your computer only, but you will not be able to unlock the nearest computer. Okay, the nearest car is standing nearby you by pressing your key. So that's how. So it's cause of a relative control. So even the signal is coming out, but there is a unique message sent out from the key fob to the car to unlock the respective car. Otherwise, it will not unlock the second person's car. So this is also one example of relative Pokayoke or relative control of error proofing. So with this, I finish the basic 3 concept. So like this, there are a lot of concepts of interest in becoming a more quality. So I can say there are so many other concepts called Jishukan, which is called work leveling, and there is Kanban, which is called just in time or just in time concept. Okay, and there is one more called Gemba. We'll go and see. It's called Gemba is a Japanese word, and the English translation goes to Japanese. Then 7 QC tools. Then around what is 5-way analysis. Then 8D methodology for problem solving. Then A3 business case presentation. So these are the basic Japanese terminologies which has been adopted by the industries worldwide to ensure they deliver a quality product services. So at any point of time, if you need any queries or any support or any sessions on this kind of quality topics, please approach me. I'll be happy to explain you all with some real-time examples, so it becomes a more interactive and easily understandable. Otherwise, if someone suddenly goes into industry, they will feel very difficult to understand these terminologies. So with this, I end my presentation. So now I give the session open for any question and answers from the team.
Thanks, Ramesh. I have one thing, like in any industry, I mean, of course, being a corporate and you are all able to implement it, but in our office, in our factory, probably we lag the implementation process.
Yes,
is there any procedures or methodology that we could implement I mean, we could employ in making the employees do it without fail?
See, employees make without it is a cultural change what you have to bring inside the organization. Am I right? It's basically everyone is bound to make mistakes. Okay. So to avoid mistakes, so you should bring a consciousness culture inside the company. Then only people will become more consciousness. Okay. So for example, I can say one example. If you go to a Japanese operator and say, okay, just to say him, you have 2 tables. In one table you have kept 100 eggs. Okay. If you go him and ask and bring the 1 egg by 1 egg and keep it in the next table, he will walk. He will just follow the rule. What he will do, he will go to the table, pick 1 egg, and keep it in the and come to the next table and keep the egg there, and he will hawk and he will do it 100 times. But our Indian people are so smart. What they will do, in one time itself, they will bring all 100 and keep the table. They'll say, "Sir, my work is finished." Okay. Okay, understood, na?
Yes.
So this is a classic example. This is what normally either we are not communicating what is expected. Failure from the man.
It's not done as expected.
Okay. So this is what the management fails. Okay. They don't tell you have to go and bring 100 eggs. What you say, you transfer 100 eggs from table 1 to table 2. That's what you communicate to the operator. But you didn't tell that he has to bring 1 egg and you have to repeat the work 100 times. You have not told him. It is not operator's fault. Am I right?
You're right.
So this is from the management perspective. The other perspective, in spite of you telling, you bring 1 egg by 1 egg, he thinks too smart. He goes and bring all 100 eggs in one shot, or he may bring 10 eggs in one shot. In 10 times he completes the work. This is also not defined. Am I right? He is not following the standard what you define. So this is the basic example I used to give. Why organizations fail in implementing this concepts in their area. So you have to do a self introspection and find out where you are lagging. Then you have to act accordingly. If it is a lack of communication from management, it's basically management fails in the way they communicate, and operators fail in following disciplines. So these two has to be corrected by appropriate steps. Either if one operator is completely doing mistakes, it's not that you should fire him, but you should go to him, you have to speak to him, what is the difficulty he's facing and why he's doing mistakes, and you should try to correct correct the issue. Else, if you fire him and bring one more new guy, he may follow him for 10 days. Then after 10 days, he will also start doing the same things. Okay. So that's the reason Japanese things always define, you establish standards and make people to follow them. So it is the responsibility of management to establish standards and follow it. Okay. That's a management duty, and following standards established by organization is the lowermost people's, they are the working level people's duty. If they don't follow, then even after defining everything, then you can do 1 or 2 times of introspection, then you can go for a disciplinary action. Okay, this is the only way. Am I right?
Yes.
Hope I answered the question, Vasanth. Am I right?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah.
Really wonderful question.
Any questions? Yeah.
One question from my side, Ramesh sir. Sir, is there any company in India which is following all these 3 5S, 7 Wastes and Pokayoke, or any one examples like?
Simple, sir. You go to Prikal, sir. Okay. Don't go too much, sir. You go to Texmo, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
If it is they are ISO certified company, okay, they will be following by default. Okay. Simple.
Great.
Because
it's much closer to our college.
Yeah, sure.
Very close to our college.
Yeah, of course. It's not, don't go India level. Think locally. Think in Mattamalai Malayam itself. Okay. There may be some company they may got ISO also. They may be doing good 5s also. Okay.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you.
Again, I'm telling Indian mindset. So people think Japanese are always good, Indians are not good. Okay, that also a different angle. Coming from a different angle, I'm saying this. Okay.
Yes.
Simple, sir. Simple, sir. Maybe college-wise, you can compare. Is there any difference between PSG and SREC?
Okay, sir. Okay. Understood.
Both we have certifications, am I right?
Yes.
We have all your certifications, but what is it? What is lagging? That we have to find out.
Okay.
Why it becomes not more attractive? Huh?
Yeah.
Maybe sorry to say this, but this is an example. Just to use an example to make it.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So very beautifully mesmerized this session, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Sir, I am Abhinaya. So I have a doubt, like, sir, actually I am very new to this quality and I'm working on it like for last 1 year in my organization. So I just have few doubts, like what if you have any suggestions or ideas to to implement that to Indian people or kind of people, because as you really told in your presentation also, our mindset is not towards quality.
Yeah.
Correct. So, what all the things you generally follow to convince the management or people who in stakeholders who involved in that to cooperate for your process or something?
Maybe if you can say a specific example, I can say. Okay. Otherwise, I can maybe I can generic way I can tell you. Okay. So first of all, any this kind of things. Okay, when you want to bring a cultural change, will it happen in 1 day, or it will take 1 decade to make cultural change?
Yeah.
No, just I'm asking you a question. To bring in a cultural change, will it take 1 day or 1 decade?
No, definitely it will take a very long term.
Very long term. So normally in any organization, they have a thing called strategy planning. Okay. Strategy planning is always a long term planning, and people today they will think of 10 years where I should be. Okay. So for example, today maybe Tata Motors may have a strategy that after 10 years I should become the world #1 EV supplier. EV is nothing but electric vehicle supplier. Okay. For mass market, that they may have as a strategy, and how they this is a generic goal, am I right? How to bring to come to #1 question, am I right? It will take time, but you should define steps. Management should define how to achieve this. Okay.
Correct. Okay.
How to achieve this is how to achieve this. This you should ask from middle management. Okay. Middle management is the manager level. They define the ways of achieving this. Okay. And the actual doers will be the lower level management. That much you have to keep in mind. So it should be a drive from top to down. So normally we call it a top-down approach. Okay. Like example, classic example, I told Modi, am I right? Modi is promoting Swachh Bharat mission. Am I right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So what is he doing? So he is aware and everywhere. He is pushing all the states to follow Swachh Bharat mission. Am I right?
Correct.
So how? So he also defines the way how they do it, what else they have to do follow. Then they give projects called smart city. They give projects for waste handling. They give incentives for recycling waste. They give incentives for using recyclable packaging materials. Am I right? So these are the actions by which you will achieve Swachh Bharat mission. Am I right? I just said three or four examples. Similarly, in your company, so or in your team, you should have a strategy. Then you should discuss with your team. Then they will, based on the team, you will arrive the ways of achieving it. Am I right? Then you should put into action and you have to keep monitoring, fine tune the process. This is called a PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. This is called a Deming's Wheel also in quality. Okay. So, for example, I may do one activity, I will check whether it is yielding me results. A classic example I was telling now, for example, all this I was getting 900 grams of peeled onion. By the way, I can improve this yield to 910 grams by maybe peeling it in a different way. Example I'm saying, okay, of the onion. So this 10 grams is incremental change, am I right? When you do this in one area, you will apply for all other vegetables what you do in your home, am I right? Not only onion. So the same will go to different teams, different activities what your team does. So normally this is called in Japanese term it's called yokoten or cross information sharing. So whenever you achieve something, you share with the other teams. So they will also know the good things. They'll start following it. Okay. For example, maybe one city may be doing very good in the waste management handling. What happens? They say that we can see newspaper that this particular city's mayor went and saw what they do differently. So, for example, sometimes the chief minister of states go to other countries to see how they are doing maybe agriculture in a different way. They do the dairy management in a different way. What are the best ways, am I right? And also from academy perspective, they may also send people to other colleges to find out how they are doing it differently, these things, am I right? So this is called a sort of a cross sharing. So normally, as I told, it should be a strategy defined by the top management and the ways of achieving ways of achieving from the middle management and implementation and monitoring by the lower level team and continuous monitoring and motivating by the top management. This is how any company can become can achieve their strategic visions. So normally, if you are ISO company, then they have three things: vision, mission, and object. And I forgot one more terminology. They call it vision and mission of the company. Whenever you are going for ISO certification, so they ask you to define a vision. Am I right? Then they will ask you to define a mission. Am I right? So all these things will happen. Am I right? Okay. For a personal life also, you should have a vision. Am I right? For example, after 10 years, you should become I should be in a particular position. Correct. Okay. So normally how to achieve? So this again, how to improve yourself. So self-improvement. So how to improve myself. So what and all I'm doing do as a validation to the company. What and all I'm doing wasting time every day. Where can I take this time? Can I convert this time into a productive way to learn something new, which will keep me updated in the job market, something like that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I hope I answered your question.
Definitely, sir. Really helpful and I understood. Thank you so much for your valuable input and suggestion.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, audience, if there are no other questions, Ramesh sir, Vasanth sir, Kadirvel sir, shall we go for the closing remarks?
Yes, Thomas.
Yeah. So that was Ramesh Viswanathan sir of 2002 EEE. Thank you, sir. Very beautiful session. You have mesmerized everybody with your wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for the webinar talk number 101. Thank you so much, sir. SREC Alumni Association feels proud to host you for this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, Department of Electronics and Electrical Engineering, and Kadirvel sir for roping in Vasanth sir. Thank you so much for roping in Ramesh sir for this webinar talk. Thank you, student friends and faculty members, for joining this. Ramesh sir, though we gave very short notice, you have made a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thomas, one more thing, sir has presented this from Malaysia. Today morning, 11 o'clock, he reached there. And it was a last minute plan. He got the visa yesterday morning and he packed up to Malaysia, and this presentation is from Malaysia.
Oh, great, sir. Great, sir. Really, we are all gifted. Thank you so much for the commitment, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
So thanks from my side for the opportunity, and I am privileged to give back something what I learned to the college, which gave me knowledge to come to this position. So really, I am also grateful, and I'm also feel privileged to host this session for SREC.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.